Continuing my series with the volunteer firemen, we're with Bill Nevins, who is the chief from the Middle Island Fire Department, and we're here to talk to him a little bit about volunteerism and the fire department. So Bill, tell us, how long have you been doing this?
Almost 20 years. January will be 20 years in the fire service. I was 25 years old, kind of was a city boy, came out with the family. I had uncles and cousins that were in Rocky Point Fire Department. And I got to the point where I was at that age where I'm working, I'm kind of bored, and they were like, why don't you try out the fire service? And from day one, fell in love with it.
Now, you said 20 years, so where did you start out when you were 25?
Probationary member, come in with no knowledge of anything with the fire service other than being in the city and just seeing a fire truck, and as a kid, you know, always like, that's the coolest thing in the world. Unfortunately, when 9/11 happened, I looked at the guys and were running into that building. I said they were absolutely crazy, especially after what happened. It was devastating. And being that coming from Queens, you know, it hit home. And a couple of years later, when I joined, and I realized what it means to be a firefighter and giving to the public, being that public servant. And you don't think about yourself; you think about what you need to do. And over the years, that evolved and just became such an integral part of my life. So the family upbringing I had taught me that, you know, always take care of people, look out for people. And when you join the fire service, you realize that, you know, you want to help people.
Now, some people, the reason why they don't want to volunteer is fear. They're afraid of fires and everything like that. Now, we know that other people have gone into this fire department as volunteers and they were afraid of things, but with the training that you get, you understand, and when you understand your fear is gone. Isn't that pretty much it?
That is the truth. When you have a fear of something, the best way to deal with that fear is knowledge, and that's where the training comes in. In this fire department, we take any probie, rookie, we do the internal training, the basic knowledge is getting them ready to go to the Suffolk County Fire Academy so that they can really understand and do their research and homework to, you know, make themselves better firefighters. So that's the truth. I mean, you know, every kid's scared of the dark until the one time they got to go in the basement and get that toy they want and realize it's not that bad. But we also have other avenues. You know, there are some people that join at older ages, or they're just not into, I'm really not into going into a fire. So we have those other avenues. We have the EMS avenue, we have fire police, and we also have exterior firefighters that are crucial to us because those are our drivers. Those are the ones that are getting those pumpers and those tankers and the ladder trucks to the scene. And without them, you can't get there. So, I mean, there's other avenues to go. Say if someone says, I really don't like to go into a fire, you know, they can still do extrication, other exterior aspects of the fire service, but as far as that fear, the knowledge, like you said, once you start to understand it and you become proficient, the fear goes away and you just know what job you have to do.
Exactly, and you know, this goes back to some of the basic stuff that they tried to teach you in high school about fires and everything like that, the ABC fires and stuff like that. That if it was a paper fire, it was, I think, A or something like that. Yeah. And I still remember, right? So, but now, much more sophisticated. Chemicals, equipment, the technology, I mean, even going back 20 years, how much do you think the fire department has evolved over that 20 years you've been here?
I'll give it to you this way, electric cars, the lithium batteries. In the last 2 years, how much that has evolved and how much we've learned and the unknowns that we still don't have. So, I mean, yes, the fire service is always trying to evolve. We're always trying to stay up on what's the next best thing. Truss construction, these laminated I-beams that came out 15 years ago. Every house back from the 70s below, or, you know, 2x4s with 2x12s, and you could light a fire under them and they could burn for hours without catastrophic failure, or maybe not hours, but 45 minutes. Now with these laminated I-beams, you have under 15 minutes or so before you actually have a collapse. So the knowledge of what we're getting into, what the construction's made of, and these are all things that you've learned throughout the years. So I go back to the lithium batteries, these electric cars. You know, they're great. They're supposed to be good for the environment. That's great. They're great for fuel economy, obviously, if you're not using fuel. But when they go on fire, copious amounts of waters and a lot of manpower. On top of, now, is it threatening a structure or anything else? It's not just a vehicle in a roadway. Is it next to a house? Will you have that ignition now into that house? So
we've heard reports where some of these battery-operated cars have gone on fire, and they've actually melted into the ground. The fire department actually buried them to turn around and put them out. It's a case of, you know, everybody wants the electric, everybody wants to save the environment, but the thing is, we're approaching it a little too fast and not as safely as we should. And the fact of these cars, I mean, certain fire departments now have to be equipped with a special chemical now to put them out, I believe?
There are chemicals out there, they do work, they're much more, those chemicals are really made for smaller batteries, your computers, your, you know, those skateboards and what type, the hoverboard type of things. But for a vehicle, it's copious amounts of water. You're putting thousands of gallons of water onto these cars, and it's even seen, we've even seen it where fire departments there for several hours, unloading a lot of water, copious amounts of water, and the next thing you know, it's on the flatbed truck and it's on fire again.
Right.
So that's the other part, is that disposal process of when they bring them to wherever they bring them, they have to put them in an area where there's no other, you know, nothing else that can combust with them, so.
Right. Yeah, so
Becomes an
like
issue.
definitely want to park it at a gas station or something
No,
like that.
no, you don't want it
You
in
know?
a yard, you don't want it next to another structure, you know, these are things that they're learning over time right now. And again, it was a very quick turnover. I mean, I just think about it, it's been like maybe 2 years, is really the electric car push.
Now, we've touched on the residential fires that have happened, but you guys also get called for business and corporation fires that are in the area.
Yeah, I mean,
And they're a little bit different because some have the Malox, I think it's a Malox system or something like that. Some of them don't have just regular sprinkler systems and stuff like that.
every building that's out here, commercial structure we call them, they have to be up to the code, and whatever the code is when it was built, you know, there's also, if there's additions, renovations, then they gotta bring it up to the standard. But yeah, you're dealing with fire department connections for sprinkler systems, you know, if you have kitchen areas that might have, you know, suppression devices, what we have to deal with. But the biggest problem with commercial is making sure that the accountability, everybody's out, and now what are we dealing with within the structure, what hazards? Because, you know, we have Walmart in this district, they have everything, you know, it's, you know, little propane tanks next to, you know, spray cans, aerosol cans.
Automotive section.
The automotive
Stuff like that,
section, so you could have a vehicle on fire in the automotive section, you hope that their fire protection, that the fire doors are all working properly so that it doesn't extend past that. But again, just in the general area, plus you have your A's, your clothing, you know, that's type of stuff that's gonna burn, so. You know, it poses a problem for us as firefighters. Like I said, we want to make sure public safety, we want to make sure everyone's out, but we also have to go in and mitigate the problem. So we have to get in there as quickly as possible. And if you have a very thick smoke condition, you know, navigating through these aisles and through all this area could become difficult. So, you know, we work on things with search. We use search rope. We're going to push through. We're going to go as fast as we can. Technology, again, thermal imaging cameras help a lot because it helps us locate the fire, see the fire so we can get to it, also see if there's anybody, you know, trapped in that building.
Or maybe knocked out unconscious on the floor or
Right,
something like that.
smoke inhalation, anything, you know, again, in that type of situation, people act that they need to get out. Did they get knocked out? Did something happen like that?
And again, the volunteers are trained in this.
Yes.
It's all one big package. Now, also, with the volunteers, and you mentioned the other positions that can be filled here at the fire department, we have residents that come in, like, where should I put my smoke detector, or other things like that. You have people here in the fire department to help them out with that,
We
right?
will. If people call us up and ask us questions, we're always happy to help. We do a fire prevention every October. We open it up to everybody in the community, and other communities come, you know, they go to all different fire, you know, prevention, the week that's going on. So, I mean, we try and educate the members of this community, you know, have your extinguisher in your kitchen. If you have a grease fire, don't put water on it. You know, smoke detectors. We do stuff at the schools with the kids, trying to teach them, you know, at a young age, at those pre-K, not the pre-K, but like, you know, kindergarten, first, second, third grade. Have a meeting place outside your house, you know. And the biggest question we always get is, what about my pet? You know,
Yeah.
We're going to get your pet out. We are very successful at getting pets out. I think last year we saved 3 cats. It was a good time because the homeowner was upset about their house burning up, but you know, their pets are part of their family, and kids feel that way too. But we always say, get out, get to a meeting place, and it's all that fire prevention, that education. So, you know, we go to these alarms big time now. October, November coming up, you're going to have your CO alarms, placement of CO alarms. People always have them, you know, they have the combination smoke and CO, and they have them in the ceiling. Like, you need those a little bit more into the area where your living spaces are at head level, bedrooms, hallways. So you know, community education outreach is very important. Even on small alarms, when they have little fires, we try and tell them how to prevent it the next time. You know, this is what you need to do. You have an oven fire, close that oven, shut it off, get out of the building, call 911.
So education is also another part of volunteering
Yeah.
with the fire department. And like you said, there's a lot of other positions besides just going in and fighting a fire.
Yeah.
And my thing is, when I've asked, interviewing a lot of chiefs and stuff like that from different departments, and the thing is, your sense of community and camaraderie in the fire department is pretty phenomenal. It's like a fraternal brotherhood. It's like, you know, everybody's, you know, badges, brotherhood of the badge.
Yeah.
You all risk your lives, you all do the same thing. And getting together with other departments, like if there's a 7 or 8 alarm fire, say quorum, and Middle Island gets called in, everybody knows what to do, everybody goes in there, and it's all because you're training and your volunteers, the volunteers that you have in the department.
Right, that camaraderie, it's not just within our department. We try to like look at ourselves as we're a family, but Quorum, Gordon Heights, Yaphank, Ridge, Miller Place, we all know each other, we've worked with each other, and everybody knows their job task. So when you're assigned that task, you know what you're doing. Because you can, if you don't follow the job task from the trainings you've done, you can inadvertently hurt somebody else or kill someone else.
Right.
So following that path is very important. But the camaraderie that you have in a firehouse, I mean, like I said, I was a transplant, came from the city, so I didn't know a lot of people out here, and these are my best friends.
City slicker to country bumpkin,
Yeah.
is that what you're saying?
So much, yeah. Used to come out in the summers, but you know that stopped when I was in my teenage years. But you know, like these are my best friends. I'm godfather to my best friend's kid. You know, I've had them. They were in my wedding party. You know, it's when I have a problem. These are the guys and girls that I'm calling. Hey, can you come over? You know, I got an issue with my burner. You know, my oil burner's acting funny, and there's always somebody in the firehouse that
Somebody
the
always knows
plumber,
something.
electrician,
Exactly.
you know, maintenance guys. So it's, you know, and we all do that, and you know, we try and do functions. You know, yes, it's a fire service. We're training. We're working together. We're making sure we're on par as to the basic, you know, firefighter needs plus advanced, you know, skills that we have to have. But, you know, we do have a nice get-together every year. We try to bring our families to incorporate, you know, the wives and husbands into the fire service, kids. You know, it's nice to see. A lot of people in the fire service have started out where they were in diapers in the rec room, and they've evolved into what their parents are and their firefighters.
Legacy
and
volunteers, right?
Exactly, the legacy. So that's always a good thing.
But, you know, to some of the kids or the people from 18 up who want to volunteer, and one of the biggest reasons is that a lot of these, the youth today feels very disconnected, like they don't belong to anything. And a good way to belong to something and be respected by the community. I mean, all firemen work well with the police department, sheriffs. I mean, I don't think there's anybody you don't work with sooner or
No,
later.
we work with a whole slew of, you know, council people,
Right.
like you said, police, fire marshals. We have to have that relationship with them because we're always working together. We have a motor vehicle accident on Middle Country Road. You know, those cops are our best friends along with our fire police guys. They're working to secure that scene for us so that the firefighters and EMTs can do their job. And for young adults, if they're looking for that path, the firehouse is the greatest way because you're going to see that everybody has something to give and we want it from you. So give us what you got and we're going to make sure that you're, you know, you're going to succeed. I tell that to every new person that comes in. I said, the most you put in, you will get the most out of this place, and you will find out that it's very self-fulfilling. I mean, to help someone is the best thing you can do for someone. And you know, it's somebody's worst day. We're trying to make it better.
Right. And talking about the community and the youth coming in here, the other thing, after talking with the other fire chiefs and stuff like that, these people who believe, oh, I'm going to fail or something, you have the support of the team.
Yeah.
And this team doesn't give up on you.
No.
And that's the whole thing. And that's one of the things that if you're going to volunteer and you're afraid of something or you're going to think you're going to screw up or something, you'll have the support of the entire department helping you to get through it because, let's face it, not everybody knows everything about everything.
No.
And, you know, you could be good at electronics but crappy at plumbing, you know, and vice versa. So, you know, to each his own. And when you have such a phenomenal team put together, like you were just saying, we got a mechanic here, a plumber there, electronic, okay, everybody helps everybody. That's the way it is. That's the brotherhood, that's the camaraderie of being a volunteer and working for your fire department with the community. And you guys work with the Civic, the Chamber of Commerce,
Yeah.
everybody. There's nobody pretty much in the community you don't know unless they're hiding under a rock.
Exactly.
So,
Like you said, that team building thing is no one, everyone's heard the terminology, you're only strong as your weakest link. So we don't want any weak links. And when you see someone going through their probation or they're going into their fire school or EMT school, we're like, all right, we're here to help you. And we spend hours with them, teaching them knots, teaching them hose handling, teaching them deployment, searches, going through their basic patient care. Because the better they are, the better we are.
right.
And we need them to have our back. When I was on the regular, just on the engine, on the line, I got to know that the guy behind me can do what I need him to do, and he needs to know I can do what I'm doing. And now as you're the chief of the department, you have to make sure everybody knows what they're doing, and they're the strongest, best, well-trained person. So, failure is not an option.
Right.
When Suffolk County residents call 911, they don't get an option between paid and volunteer. They get a volunteer crew, and they're going to get the best volunteer crew out there that's going to do the best. They're trained to the best. I mean, I don't know if you know much about the Suffolk County Fire Academy.
Yes.
But I mean, they have excellent instructors. They train you to the fullest.
Absolutely incredible. I've been down there, I think it was 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, and they were showing about, because everybody wanted their deep fried turkeys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and they were doing this demonstration, and I was like, well, that's off the menu for this year. So Suffolk County Fire did this thing with the turkey fries every Christmas time, all right? Right after Thanksgiving, they do this whole thing about your Christmas tree, your live Christmas tree. So second to none. Suffolk County Fire is an absolutely fantastic academy, on par with our own police academy.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic what they do. And, a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm here going to the Middle Island Fire Department to volunteer train, so I'll be here training. No, it doesn't work that way. You're going to be with other people who know probably just as much as you in a Suffolk County Fire Academy. Then, of course, you'll have some training here, of course, because each fire department's different, each way it's set up.
Right.
And the rewards. Let's talk about the rewards for people who want to volunteer.
So they do have a LoSAP program that if you are in a fire department, so every year you have to make your X amount of points, and you have to make sure that those points are made, you're a member in good standings. And I think it's after 20 years you can start to either collect a pension or it's at age 55. I'm not there yet, so I don't really worry about it. But yeah, so and every year you get a little statement that says this is what you can collect at this point. So it's a little bit of a perk. It's not like you're going to go live a luxurious life, but excuse me, that's something nice that the state does for us. There's also tax benefits. After 5 years, if you own property, you get a tax break on your, I think it's from the property taxes for the school or something.
Right.
So that's nice. And we also have a service program. So if you were going to Suffolk Community College or one of the community colleges, they'll help pay for your tuition. So that's also good for the younger recruits when they're coming in. It's just like I said, we have an Explorer program, 12 to 17. They actually can go to 21 if they want. But if they're in that program, at 17 years old, they come as a restricted probie. They're in there for a year, and by that time they're going to college and stuff and staying local, and they're still volunteering. They're in good standings. They get that, so it's a nice bonus for that. But again, it's all about the brotherhood, the sisterhood.
I was just about to say, what's the the human side of
that's
it?
The human side.
What's the human?
It's that extended family. It's the people that you can call on, trust, that brotherhood, that sisterhood. The people that you understand, that they know how you feel, you know how they feel, and you want to do the same goal. Everyone has that same goal to achieve the best. That's the greatest thing about volunteering. I've seen plenty of people that have gotten careers because they came to the fire service, and not just in emergency.
Right.
They've met that mechanic, they've met that plumber or that IT person, and they're like, wow, and
they can pick up a trade.
And they say, I think I like this. He's a good guy. I like that he's this is what sounds like good things. So I mean, there's that whole field of yes, you can go into emergency services, police, fire, EMT, but you're going to see the other aspect of the real world. And for young adults, that's a great thing because it's exposure. They're going to see here, and well, I want to do what that guy can do. I remember we had when I was on probation, one of our senior guys. just phenomenal with anything. He could build something. He was like a MacGyver type of guy. And, I was like, I'm sticking with this guy because I'm going to learn a lot. And he taught me phenomenal things. I mean, vehicle electrification, I was like amazed by that. It was like, how do you take this and make it happen where someone's not going to get stuck in a vehicle and they, pulling all the parts away. He was like, you really want to know, kid? And I was like, yes, I do, sir. And he spent a whole summer with me teaching that, and it was so valuable.
And, the thing is with the volunteers, like we said, we mentioned a lot of the benefits and everything. As far as the cons of it, the only cons are going to be volunteering are the ones you make yourself.
Yeah.
Because you'll have all the training, you'll have the people supporting you everywhere, you'll make friends, and these aren't just fair weather friends, these are lifetime friends.
Yeah, they are.
Brotherhood. We know a couple of older retired firefighters from this department, and they still, they're just like one of the gang.
Yeah,
when they come by.
They still show up, and it's, the best part about when those retired guys come back is they love to see the newer group and go, wow, everyone's changed, but it's pretty much the same, And then the new guys want to talk to them and be like, oh, how'd you guys do this? And, again, and they're looking at our new apparatus and our tools, and they're like, we didn't have any of this stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are lucky.
Yeah.
But
Two changes, but the song remains the same.
Yeah,
right?
the job's still the same,
Well, I would just ask you as we're wrapping things up here, I'm going to put the camera on you and ask, why would people want to volunteer?
I would say people want to volunteer to better their life. You can't feel anything more rewarding than looking at someone and they have just experienced the worst day, second, moments of their life, and you just put that look in their eye and they have that no more fear look and they understand it's going to be okay. Not every time that happens, but the majority it does. It's also that camaraderie, that friendship, that family feeling. Being an only child, had older cousins, but now I have brothers and sisters, and I will forever be indebted to the fire service for that.
And I wanted to thank you for coming on, taking your time
Not a
out,
problem.
because it's not easy for a chief, because you have to be 100 places at once all at the same time.
It always happens.
For giving us this interview, and we're hoping that when you at home are seeing this video, that you might want to volunteer, and you can contact the Midline Fire Department. We're going to put the numbers up at the end of this program.